Salute, Paper Army. How do you do? This is Michael, the paper engineer. What I've got going on here is the number 2 tutorial for the concept tank build on Warhammer. Now, I want my tracks to roll. So this is how I'm setting this up. Now, I've got these pieces marked out already. Now, I want to make sure that the bottom section or the other side actually meets these perfectly. So what I have to do is I've got these set up so that now I can punch these holes in here, and I try never to punch more than 4 pieces of paper, since these are each 2 pieces, because otherwise you can't get your plugs out of your punch if you do more than that. And so anyway, what I've got now is this part. Okay, so what you have to do here is, it's not right. Now, the holes that I made for here was a hole punch, but trying to punch through these 2 layers, I ended up breaking, doggone it, I broke my hole punch. So I had to do this differently. And so now what you have to do is you have to take your Dremel tool and make your holes the exact same size as your front 2 for the back 2, because there's 2 pieces per plate, because you have to have things strong enough to be able to hold up your rollers. Now, this is a cut down dowel, and what I do is now I have to work it in here and make sure that it fits good, because I want it tight, but I don't want it so tight that the rollers won't roll. And so you have to do that with all of your holes on both sides of your tracks. Now, once you have got these completed, then you're at this stage right here where you can put your rollers in. All right, now there's 6 of them on this shaped track. Okay, and these and I'll show you how to make these next. These just fit in here like so. Make sure this is nice. And now you have to have these an inch apart, basically, because what you've got going on is you want your tracks to roll around on the outside of them. And so I've got this piece also that I made already. Now this goes down on here. Now I've marked out a whole bunch of lines on this. So now what I need to do is just glue this in place, because hopefully this will glue down very nicely, and then I can make sure everything is flush and where it's supposed to be. Because what this block is doing is this is building up your depth between your tracks. And now I want to make sure I get glue on both sides of everything really well. And I check my distances to make sure it all looks good. Because here's your situation. If you don't have the right spacing on this roller will not work. It'll hang up, and you don't want that. So now that I have that done, that sits there like so. Now the next part of this build is more difficult. When you start putting the top piece on, which is this one here, you have to make sure all of these wheels line up correctly. All right, so let's go here. Let's do that. All right. I think that's going to be good, but I want to be able to hold that together. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put that on there, and now I'm going to put this on here. Now what that does is that gives me an absolutely perfectly flat square edge to deal with. And now we take one of these clamps, hopefully this will work. Oh yeah, it will. Okay, now we're going to put this over here, and we're going to tighten that just a teeny tiny bit. And then we're going to get this big one right here on this side. Now, I don't have to squeeze them much, all right? I just put pressure on them so that this will hold this together. And then we're going to set that down there and let that dry, because now that is out of your way. So what we come to now at this point is these are about 1/4 inch dowels. I think that's right. Anyway, and this is bamboo. Well, not quite 1/4. Okay, so we're going to go with, it is 20/100ths of an inch, in case, you know, or about 2/10, which is metric. And so anyway, so this is made metrically because it's bamboo, so it had to either come from Japan or China. And so that's what they do. Anyway, okay, since I'm over here in America, I have a different problem. Now, what you've got is, I'll show you here, 3 different thicknesses. This is 3 layers of paper, 11 inches by 1 inch wide to make this. This is 2 and this is 1. And so I'm going to show you how to start one of these rollers for any kind of tank build that you want to make. Let's put some Elmer's glue or PVA on just like that. Smooth it out nice, and remember, always have something to wipe your glue off on, because otherwise your fingers will stick to stuff that you don't want them to stick to. And then we start this. Now I center it because I want it to be, you have to have shoulders, all right? You have to have these shoulders. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, you can see that. That is a shoulder. That shoulder is what's going to ride inside of these. And you need a shoulder on each side. So now for myself, it is 1 1/4 inch dowel that I am using for this bearing. I suppose you can call it a bearing. I'm not exactly sure what you would call this. But you have to roll it up on there very evenly. Otherwise, what happens is this tracks back and forth, then you don't have a good shoulder to stay inside your chassis mount. Dental tools come in really handy right here. I've saved so much glue by using this dental tool to move the glue ahead of where I'm putting it. Okay, why is that? All right, now I've noticed something is twisting off. So what I'm trying to do is I'm stretching this one side that it's twisting to, and hopefully I can, or in hopes of straightening that out, which is what I did. All right. And by keeping this glue ahead of yourself, you make a very, very solid wheel out of this. Because once this dries, it becomes like cement. It becomes a solid piece completely. And so Anyway, what you end up doing is you end up creating all your rollers. Now, I decided that it needed to be, instead of 1 or 2 on this, which is, I think these are 1. Matter of fact, I know they're 1 because I just started this one to show you. Okay, 1 layer. These are 3 layers. Now, you can use just 1 layer, but it doesn't give you very many, very good tolerances between what you're working with. Okay, so let's put that on there. Now, see, I put it in here and I spin it. What that does is any pieces of paper, as you're wrapping this, that have pushed up or down, when you stick it in there and wind it around, what it does, it wipes all the glue off smooth onto here, and it squeezes this in just a little tiny bit. So what you end up with is a very good fit. Okay, now what we've got going on there, we got this, and this is what this kind of looks like. All right, when you start sticking this together, all of these pieces are going to look like this. And these are your rollers for your tracks. Now, what I will do also on top of this, once I get ready to put this together, I will take and put wax on these spindles so that the wax will let these things roll very smoothly. And so anyway, once that top piece dries, then I glue this whole thing together this way, because I have those, you saw me put those chassis pieces in here. Those chassis pieces then will be glued on this side, which will hold this thing together. Now, how to keep these other parts together is that I will glue another piece in here singularly once it's all put together, to give it its structural strength to hold these together so they don't pull apart. It's all part of the build process that takes a lot of thought into it before you just jump right in. Uh-oh, don't want to lose that. Come back here, you. Yeah. And we're going to set that right there. That's fine. All right, now we're going to go to one more step of this. How to make your tracks. Okay, now earlier today, I built a jig. This is a needle jig. Okay, what this is now is I put this in my little vise, and then I take these pieces here. Now these are my track pieces. Now I didn't show Trip how to do this. This is brand new. But I'm doing these tracks like I did the very first tracks on my tie crawler. And I think it might be a little bit easier, but I'm not sure yet. And so what you do is you just push this down on here. Okay, like that. All right, now you take this off and you flip it around and you do that again. Okay, so what I'm actually attempting to do here is just punch holes. Oh, that did not punch in there straight. And you have to be straight with your second hole, up and down. Otherwise, it will not line up correctly. Now I have 2 holes in here. So when I get ready to thread my, what am I threading in here? Dental floss. I'm going to run a string, a dental floss, through a needle. Push the needle through here, and I'll start lacing all of the these tread pieces up. Now what I have to do with that is I have to just keep putting these things on, and lots of them on, until they will go around this area completely. And that's where this part of the tank build is super tough to do. It's not hard to do. It just takes a long time to do it. And the reason I made a jig is because I want these track parts to be exactly the same spacing with each other, because they have to fit down in a channel and they have to slide around evenly. If they're not, what happens is you got a long one and a short one, then they don't fit inside, and your tracks will move up and down and they'll pinch, and there's all kinds of things that will happen to them. Okay, now on to making these. Now you're gonna have to make literally hundreds of them. You can make 2 of them out of a Q-tip. All right, now this is what I learned how to do with these Q-tips. I take this dental tool and we just kind of work this stuff off of here like so. Yeah? Like this. Okay, now once it's off of there like that, then what you got going on here is, then you have to take off this excess stuff. All right, come on off of there. There we go. Because you don't want that on your tracks. It won't look good. Now, I measured these already on here. So now that I have taken those off of there, then what I do is I even them up just like that. And you want what you're doing here to be very accurate. All right, because if you do not keep this accurate, what happens is, again, your tracks will pinch and bind up because you've got different size pieces in here. Okay, here we're gonna admit this. All right, I'm shooting a video, sweetheart, so and there is another one made. What happens is you have to do this a lot. So this first one right here is my template, and I am going to use it for every one of these, and I don't mix them up. Okay, if you mix them up and you got a little bit variance in it somewhere, then now all of your parts have a variance in them, and if you accidentally use it again, then guess what? You're going to have another variance. Now, once you start getting all those done, now here's the easy part. The easy part of this is this one right here. Toenail clippers. You just stick them in here. Oops, that's my template. I put it in here so I don't lose it. And now I take these ones, put it right on there, snip, snip, and then go to the next one. Just like that. And it's just like this tool I made right here for punching these little holes. It's the same thing I do when I'm doing any kind of work that takes lots and lots of pieces. Well, if that's the case, then you have to make something that makes your job easier. And that's what this is easier. So this is tutorial number 2 on the concept Warhammer 40K tank. Thank you all for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the show Monday through Friday at noon to 2 and 4 to 6. See you then, Paper Army.